This Food City 300 betting picks edition of the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network is brought to you by DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now and use code SGP. New customers can score $200 in bonus bets instantly when they bet just $5 on football, only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code SGP. We're also brought to you by Gametime. Snag the tickets without the stress. Use promo code SGPN on your first purchase to save $20. Download the Gametime app and use promo code SGPN. We're also brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. Play the Underdog Pick'em in college or NFL and win up to 20 times in one game. Use promo code SGPN at Underdog Fantasy for a 100% deposit bonus up to $100. Finally, we're brought to you by Hall of Fame Bets, the sports betting research platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Download the Hall of Fame Bet app now or visit hofbets.com and use code SGPN to get 50% off of your first month and start making smarter bets today.
Driver, start your engine!
Strap in and pull those belts up tight as the Sports Gambling Podcast Network presents the NASCAR Gambling Podcast.
I'll wreck my mom to win a championship. I'll wreck your mom to win a championship.
With all the news and the best bets for your NASCAR weekend.
It refrains me from not beating the out of you right now because you asked me stupid questions. But since I'm on probation, I suppose that's improper to say as well. If you could talk about racing things, we could talk about racing things.
Now, here are your hosts, Rod Villagomez and Cody Zeeb.
Talking racing things is what we do. Of course, it is the NASCAR Gambling Podcast here on the Sports Gambling Podcast Network. He's Cody Zeeb. I'm Rod Villagomez. A short race on a short track for Xfinity this week, and I'm telling you, tempers are going to flare. Obviously, it's playoffs. Just a postseason brings the angst out of everybody. But this is going to be a damn good race. Obviously, we're in for it. It's Bristol, baby. On Friday night, no less. Man, Cody, excited to get this one going.
Yeah, Friday night under the lights, some Xfinity racing. Of course, the Truck Series is going to be Thursday night. Then you get Xfinity Friday. Cup is taking off Saturday night as well. So it's going to be a good week. We talked about it a little bit on the Cup Series episode. Under the lights, things gets ramped up. First race of the playoffs here for the Xfinity guys, right? They locked in the field last week at Kansas. So now you enter the first round here, a win, and boom, you are into the next round. And once you're into that next round, all you got to do is get into the championship four after that. So it's in the Xfinity Series, it's a short, quick, much like the Truck Series, right? It's a shorter playoffs. It's less rounds. It's quicker to get to the title fight, and that's what these truckers are going to be looking to do. If you lock it up, or these truckers, these Xfinity guys, the Truck Series guys are going to be looking to do that too. But for the Xfinity guys, like if you lock it up this week, you don't have to worry about the next two races. You move right on. There's a road course in there, can be a wild card at the Roval. And the Texas is the other one. But yeah, it's a good opportunity to get a win, move on. And we've seen how important playoff points can be, right? Look at the Cup Series. Look what's coming down in the Cup Series this weekend as, got the regular season champion already, having issues. There's a couple guys rolling in, Tyler Reddick and Kyle Larson. No sweat on their shoulders because they're already locked in the next round. So everybody's going to be fighting for that this weekend. And much like we talked about in the Cup Series, while it's still your favorites up top, right? No surprise who some of the favorites are. John Nemechek, Justin Allgaier, of course. I do feel like this race a little bit more wide open, much like the Cup Series, where a lot of other guys could take this away. I don't think it's necessarily going to be one guy that absolutely dominates this race. And so I think we're in for a really good one.
I do too. And honestly, I mean, look, we usually set up the length and the distance and all that stuff later on the show, but it's 300 laps around this half-mile paved track, 159 miles. It is not a lot of time to get stuff done. These guys know that their playoff lives hang in the balance. So they're going to be on the wheel. And I think you're right too. This is not necessarily a wide open. In fact, as I was looking, I did what I did yesterday when I did with the Cup Series picks. I sort of just closed the books and open the stats and let myself sort of take in, because it's a little difficult. And we'll talk about these drivers. Not a lot of them have a lot of track history on there, as much as some of these drivers have track history on this, right? So
that's always the challenge with Xfinity, right? Is there's not a deep track history like there is in the Cup Series. And of course, with the Cup Series, you've had to adjust a little because of the next gen era and everything, but you could still go back and look and see Kyle Busch has 8 wins on this track in the Cups. Like, you don't have that to fall on as much in the Xfinity now. We'll talk about a couple of guys that do have a few starts here, and that helps. But you've got some guys that that don't have starts or very few starts, or it's been a few years, or it was in a different car, and things change a lot. So it makes it a lot tougher, especially when, again, this is kind of a standalone track type, right? It's a short track, so you lump it in with those, but it races different than the other short tracks. So there's not an exact comparison of this guy was really good here, so it should translate exactly here. You got to kind of piece it together, and okay, they were good here, here, and here. Will that translate into this or that type of thing, which makes it a lot more challenging.
And it's funny. It makes it a lot more challenging from a handicapper standpoint, obviously, for us to try to do the old comp track thing, right? I get it, and I understand the need for it, but I know from an entertainment standpoint, not having cookie cutter tracks anymore, not necessarily going back to back mile and a halves, or not necessarily even having the mile and a halves be exactly the same anymore, or they switched up Atlanta to try to make it a little different. It's a mile and a half super speedway now. So I mean, they're making adjustments to these tracks to try to make them unique in their own right, which from an entertainment standpoint I absolutely love. From a handicapping standpoint, it's like, well, can I really compare Pocono to anything? Can I really compare Dover to anything? New Hampshire. All these tracks are, similar length, not Pocono, but you know what I mean? Like all the tracks that are similar length, you can say, oh, he runs well on a half-mile track. Yeah, but is that half-mile banked to high hell? Is it a flat track? Is it dirt? Like what does he do well on?
Yeah, exactly. It makes it really tough when there's not any direct comparisons, and you can't even look at the dirt race here because the Xfinity guys didn't come to this race, so you really got nothing to look at.
Yeah, but I think we found a lot of ways to get in on what we like as well. Although we know that there's some news that just broke. We're taping on a Tuesday, on a Wednesday, so we don't know when this episode will come out because we don't know. The truck odds are not out yet, so we're trying to figure out whether to release the truck episode first or this one. So just a little behind baseball. We don't know.
Yeah,
so
it's recorded early. Who knows when you'll get it, but it will be sometime before Friday's race. But yeah, there's been a few different pieces of news really coming out today. Let's start with the entry list. You got 39 spots, or 39 drivers for 38 spots. The most notable entry on here, Mr. Dale Earnhardt Jr. will be in the 88 car. Not guaranteed to make the race, just for the record. But, I would imagine he finds his way in. But Dale Jr., one of the 2 races he's going to be doing. We'll talk about him when it comes to betting here in a little bit. You've got Trevor Bayne is going to be back in the 19 car for Gibbs. Connor Mosack is in the 24. Jeffrey Earnhardt back in the 45. So cool to have uncle and nephew, because Jeffrey would be Dale Jr.'s nephew there. Yeah, that's really kind of your notables as far as the entry list goes. So really cool to see Dale Jr. back out there. It was announced earlier this week, Sam Mayer is going to return to JRM. We kind of already assumed that, right? I think that was pretty much a done deal. It sounds like it'll be Mayer, Jones, and Allgaier are all returning for another season. Carson Quapple maybe in that 8 car, not officially yet, but will be interesting to see there. Zane Smith said today on SiriusXM his deal is done. He knows what he's doing next year. He can't tell us yet, but adds the news could be coming out this week. Shortly after that, Chris Rice tweeted from Colleague a picture of a handshake.
I mean,
and it says Friday. So I would assume Friday would be the thing. And so this handshake, this is great because you know how the internet is, and people get really deep into it. So there is a picture out there from Left Turn Cult over on X And they've got pictures of drivers' arms and trying to figure out whose arm this could be. They've got Corey Heim. They've got the number 10 driver from the Xfinity Series. I don't remember who they got. Matt Benedetto on there and somebody else. But yeah, people are trying to figure it out. And then, so there's 2 trophies in the background. One is for the Wawa 250, which it appears is a Daytona race that Ross Chastain won. So but Ross Chastain's locked in at Trackhouse. So that part doesn't necessarily make sense. But the other one is it says champion on it, and it's got 2 dates. It's 20 something and 20 something champion. But I've not seen anybody that's been able to figure out what that is yet. So whether those are hints, whether those are just trophies in the background to try and throw you off, who knows? But sounds like Friday. We're gonna find out. Maybe the Cup Series lineup. I don't know if it's just the 31 car. It'll be. I mean, is Allmendinger coming back? Nobody knows, right? So, calling news Friday. Tune back in, I guess.
Yeah, maybe we'll have more news by the time the truck odds come out. So we'll speculate more on that. But let's tell you first about DraftKings. Football's back in full swing with another week of epic games. And who's got you covered on the action for every single one of them? DraftKings Sportsbook, an official sports betting partner of the NFL. New customers can bet $5 on football and get $200 instantly in bonus bets. Plus, nobody's missing out on the action as all DraftKings customers can take advantage of 2 new offers every game day this September. Get in on the NFL Week 2 action with DraftKings Sportsbook. Download the app now. Use code SGP to sign up. New customers can bet just $5 and take home $200 instantly in bonus bets only on DraftKings Sportsbook with code SGP. The crown is yours. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. Buying tickets sucks. Doesn't matter where you go. Doesn't matter what you do. You're getting gouged left and right, especially if you're trying to wait to the last minute to see if you can go to that concert or that sporting event or whatever little league game you're trying to get to, and they're selling tickets to the park because that's the way they roll, and you can't get one because you're waiting. Well, stop doing that. Stop stressing. Gametime's going to help you out there. The Gametime app is the perfect place to go for last-minute deals on tickets, for flash deals on last-minute tickets. They literally take the stress out of buying tickets either before, probably during the concert. I don't know. I mean, I haven't tried to do it, but I'm sure that if you tried to buy during, they might just have your back there as well. They take out all the stress, like I said, of buying tickets. So make sure you go download that Gametime app now. Plus, not only are you going to get all those killer deals and the best prices guaranteed, but you're also going to get a picture of the seat. Maybe you even sitting in that seat enjoying the concert. They're gonna do AI and put you in the seat watching this concert, waving your hands in the air. Okay, they probably won't go that far, but anyways, whatever they do, they're gonna send you a picture from the seat. That they will do, and so you can see exactly what you're gonna look at when you're sitting there. Telling you right now, you do not want to miss out on this. Snag the tickets without the stress with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code SGPN for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code SGPN for $20 off. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. I'm actually going to do that. I'm going to create something to where AI shows you sitting in the seat having fun. That way you literally can envision yourself having fun watching Bristol.
They have they have things where you can like see the furniture, what it would look like in your house and stuff like that. So
and you sitting in it,
yeah, exactly. Around. So there you go. Let's do it. Let's get it done.
Okay, let's get it done. All right. Any other last minute news, or do we just want to kind of get into the bets? I feel like
I think that's all the big stuff. Yeah, Kyle Busch, Austin Dillon swapping pickers in the Cup Series. We'll probably talk about that more on the DFS show later this week, but. Yeah, no other real news, at least at the time of recording this. Again, we're recording early, depending on when it comes out. Be a surprise for us as much as it is a surprise for you.
I know, and I want to get this episode. You know, I tend to love to get the episodes out as soon as I'm done with everything, right? And we're done. But like this one, I can't do it. So hopefully you're listening to this in a timely manner. Obviously you will because it'll matter. The race is on Friday. Yeah,
race is Friday. You got time. It'll be all right.
You got time. So, all right. Well then. Let's get into the bets. The books did us a few favors on some of these, but I feel like by and large, this was still sort of a top heavy week as far as matchups, and look, like we said, I don't care if it's the playoffs, books. If you're listening, go ahead and give us the lower end matchups. We don't need to necessarily always bet on the top 10 guys. It's fine if you give us the middle of the pack. In fact, it's preferable for us to be able to dig a little deeper into this. So
Yeah,
just a thought.
I actually filled out two of my spots in here. I had this. I was gonna go big on the head to heads this week. I was going deep. I was like, all right, I'm gonna fade this driver. I put 2 guys against him head to head. I started doing the research. I talked myself out of betting against him head to head, and I added him as an outright instead, Rod. So the research to hole took me way down the hole this week and changed some of my bets for sure. But
Nice.
no, I do feel. Again, I do feel like it's an open field, much like the Cup Series. So it gives us some more options, gives us a way to kind of work around things a little, and so I like it a lot.
All right. Well, then let's go ahead and start loading up these bets, shall we?
Let's do it. We're going to go right for the top of the board. Justin Allgaier, John Hunter Nemechek are the 2 favorites in this race. I'm going to take John Hunter Nemechek over Justin Allgaier, plus money, plus 110 over on Superbook. This is minus 115 in some other places. Plus 110 over on Superbook. So head over there and get this one. For me, this is just, I say it all the time when we're talking about John Hunter Nemechek. You're going to give me the fastest car, the fastest driver. He's on fire right now. And Justin Allgaier, can you trust him? You've had some bets on him here lately, Rod. It's pretty hard to trust him. He's good at Bristol. I will give him that. But I just can't trust him. If you take Daytona out of there, which Allgaier did win, but again, it's such a wild card. We're going to take it out. 4 in a row. John Hunter Nemechek has finished better than him. 8 of the last 12, John Hunter Nemechek has taken the head-to-head in this. So it's not necessarily a track history thing. It's nothing like that. This is just, I trust this guy in the fastest car, the best driver, a little more than this other guy who's also in a fast car and a really good driver. But I trust Nemechek more, and you're giving it to me at plus money. That's what really, it's mispriced. It shouldn't be at this price. So John Hunter Nemechek over Justin Allgaier, plus 110 over on Superbook.
It's crazy because, and I'll obviously talk a little bit more about Allgaier later on in the episode as well. But like, I wanted to take Nemechek as an outright this week. I thought had all signs are, but then I couldn't get myself to do it. You know what I'm saying? Like, I couldn't pull the trigger. And so
I think that's an important thing to talk about just real fast too, is like, obviously you could pick Nemechek just about any week, but at these numbers that it's low. And I know we took him last week at Kansas because I felt very confident he was going to be the best at that track. Everything lined up. And now, would I be surprised if he leads every lap of this race and he's the best car and he's the best driver? And absolutely not. But am I convinced like I was that week, or like New Hampshire week, where it was like, look, he's going to be the best car. He's going to be the best driver. You're like, unless something goes wrong, he's not going to be beat. I don't feel that way coming into this race. I do feel like he's still the best car and the best driver, but I do feel like there's other guys that can compete with him just as much, and it's maybe not going to be as runaway of a week. So again, you got to pick and choose your spots where you take those really short favorites, and I do feel like this is not the week for that when it comes to John Hunter.
Yeah, and plus 260 is where he's at outright. It's just, again, it's difficult to want that. I mean, because again, it's not guaranteed. So, all right, I'm going to start out. I have a head-to-head as well, and I'm going to take Josh Berry over Trevor Bayne. I know Trevor Bayne is in that 19 car this week, but Josh Berry has actually stumbled onto something here the last couple of weeks, and maybe, just maybe, he'll be able to do it again. Darlington 5th, Kansas 6th, right? But you also look back at his short track performance earlier in the year, right? Richmond 3rd, Martinsville 4th, 2 solid finishes on short tracks this season. After we just got done telling you can't necessarily comp short tracks, but again, a couple of top 5 finishes, a top 3 finish for Josh Berry earlier in the season on short tracks. I like that track history for him already. Trevor Bayne has only run 1 race this season in the Xfinity Series in that 19 car, crashed out of Daytona the second time around. I know this 19 car can be fast, and I know that actually when you look back at who's driven this thing, right? I mean, you got Ryan Truex, who actually won a race in this, Ty Gibbs, who finished 5th and 4th in this car, and 6th as well, 4th and won a race here too. Denny Hamlin won a race, but this is Trevor Bayne. I get it. He finished 29th in Daytona. Look back at what he's done here in the Bristol Xfinity Series. He's got a couple of top 10 finishes in the last couple of years, but that was 2013 and 2014. The last time he ran this race as an Xfinity driver was a 13th place finish in 2014. Josh Berry is a regular. Josh Berry is a driver that has been on this track every single race this season. Not this track in particular, but been on the track every race this season. Trevor Bayne is not. And the last time that Josh Berry was on this particular track in this race was a 7th place finish last year. So again, Josh Berry getting this at -120. I know it's juiced a little bit over there on DraftKings, but again, I think this is a good enough week for Berry to be able to get another top 10 finish. I don't see the same for Trevor Bayne.
Yeah, I have bets on both of these guys going forward, so I'll talk about both of them more as we go. Sammy Smith also, I just stumbled across this, has announced today that he's close to finalizing plans. There's some rumors that it's with JGR, or with JRM rather.
I was like JGR.
Yeah, he's at JGR obviously, but if he says he's close, but he won't say where, that's kind of interesting. So be interesting if they poach another. Obviously, they took Brandon Jones last year from JGR. Take another one, but sorry, I got distracted.
I do. It.
Yes, I do have comments on both of your drivers here in a bit. So you can make your own decision from my arguments on them, which side you want to take.
Indeed. We'll come back with more of those arguments. Let's tell you about Hall of Fame bets. Win bigger by betting smarter this NFL season with Hall of Fame bets, the sports betting analytics platform for parlays, player props, and game lines. Research every NFL, NBA, MLB, and soccer bet with historical stats and data. Enter any parlay into Hall of Fame Bet's revolutionary parlay optimizer tool to get hit rates broken down by leg, as well as expected probability for the entire parlay. Sort all players by any hit rate for any bet to learn which players are hot and which picks have value. Listen, as somebody who researches a lot for player props, especially for the NFL, trying to find it across 16 different sites is frustrating when you only have 3 screens in front of you. So Hall of Fame bets, huge cutting down the time in that. If you are somebody that loves to place prop bets as well, this is a fantastic tool for you able to do so. Stop betting in the dark. Join over 30,000 users researching with Hall of Fame bets to craft more intelligent, data-driven parlays. Download the Hall of Fame Bet app or visit hofbets.com and use code SGPN. You're going to get 50% off of your first month today. Start researching, start winning with Hall of Fame bets. Underdog Fantasy has a way to play alongside your favorite team or drive along with your favorite driver all season long. With their fantasy pick'em game, you can pick between 2 to 5 players or drivers, select whether they'll go higher or lower on their stats, and then do what you usually do on Sundays. Relax on the couch with your AI counterpart, watching the race or the game. You can win up to 20 times your money in a single game by going 5 for 5. It's a fantasy game, but you can win real money. Friday, we're going to give you all the underdog picks that you could possibly want on our show. Make sure you're tuning in for that. Watch along, make your picks, and maybe make a little cash over on Underdog's mobile app or website, underdogfantasy.com. When you sign up with the promo code SGPN, Underdog will double your first deposit up to $100. That's Underdog Fantasy, promo code SGPN. All right, Cody, another bet is rating in the wings. What is it?
Yeah, our guy Brandon Jones made us some money last week. Gonna jump back on him again this week. Brandon Jones just has certain tracks where he's really good at, and he's just the tracks he's good at, he's consistently good at. Michigan, we bet on him there, we cash tickets on him. Kansas, we bet on him there, we cash tickets on him. Those are tracks he's been very good at in the past. Bristol, another one of those tracks. The last 4 races here, the bet, by the way, top 5 plus 225. I don't think I mentioned that. That's what I'm going to take over on Caesars. But his last 4 races here, a 4.5 average finish. That's all inside the top 5, Rod, right? So his average finish inside the top 5 over 4 races. That's not just it's not a small sample size. That's a pretty good, that's 4 seasons because, or 3 seasons, I think, because there would have been 2 Bristol races a couple of years ago before the dirt fiasco or whatever. Anyways, but 3 of those finishes are inside the top 5. He was second last year. He was second last week at Kansas. He was third at Michigan. Martinsville, another track he's consistently good at. 5th place there. Brandon Jones shows up at the tracks he's good at, he's comfortable at. He's one of these, Xfinity guys, he's been around a long time now, right? And it's always been a good ride. He was with RCR for a while, JGR for a while. Now he's at JRM. It's not been the best season. They just missed the playoffs. All of it, I get it. I understand. But he can still show up. He can still have a good race. He's good at the tracks. He's good at that consistency just sticks there no matter how bad his season is going. And you saw it at Kansas again last week. Like, finishes in second place at a track he is just always good at. Saw it at Michigan. And so I think that trend just keeps continuing on. Top 5 plus 225 for Brandon Jones.
Got more to say about him as well now and later on in the episode, but I totally agree with you as Brandon Jones having a good finish. In fact, you laid out all of the first side of the case for me. I'm going to continue on. I'm going to take him, Brandon Jones, over Sammy Smith. This is at minus 125 over on Caesars. Here's the thing, right? Cody just told you exactly everything about Brandon Jones, which is the entire argument I was going to use on that side of it. So I'll take Sammy Smith and say he's never been on this track as an Xfinity driver, right? He's never had a race at Bristol. It's a tough learning curve on Bristol. We talk about, tracks not being equal and tracks not being the same. One short track isn't the same as the next. And that is entirely true here at Bristol. You got to learn how to run Bristol. It's not something that you could just jump on and automatically do. And you look at Sammy's mixed results here from the 2 short tracks that they've run this season. He started second in Richmond, right? Led 40 laps, looked good, but ended up finishing 19th. Could not stay out of trouble. Could not figure out how to get that car into a top 10 even finish at Richmond. Martinsville, he corrected. He made, a second place finish out of a 7th place start. So not necessarily a bad result for him there. But I'm really looking now at the last, over a month here for Sammy Smith, right? It was all well and good between Chicago and Pocono. 6th, 10th, 5th, 6th, great stuff, right? After Pocono, Elkhart Lake, 31st, Michigan, 38th, Indy, 28th, Watkins Glen, 18th. I get it. I know that those are road courses, whatever. But they're still finishes, and they're still bad finishes. Daytona, 21st, Darlington, 17th. Kansas crashed out after starting second, 35th. A string of bad luck for that 18 car. I don't know if he's finding it or if it's finding him, but this is not the momentum that you want to be riding heading into a race like Bristol, especially your first time on this track. If trouble is finding you, it's going to find you at Bristol. Or if you want to find trouble, you can find it in Bristol. Brandon Jones, obviously a much cleaner racer on this track, has been this season as well. So I like this. Again, Brandon Jones has been winning us a little bit of money, and I'm going to continue that trend. So I'm going to take Brandon Jones over Sammy Smith here, minus 125.
Yeah, I like this one a lot. Sammy Smith is likely going to be super fast, but you cannot rely on him to get you good finishes. It's just he can go out and win this race because he's going to be that fast, but he can also fuck it up and finish bad just because that's what he does. Like you said, it's been a bad string. What have you done for me lately? Brandon Jones is good here. I already made that argument. So, no arguments from me here on that one. Next up for me, Rod. What are the books? 1 week. They get you for 1 week, and then they just fall back asleep. I love it. It's great. Austin Hill, top 5, plus 140. Rod, let me look back through my notes here. Have you watched an Xfinity Series race this year? Okay, that's it. That's all I got. What? Okay, I got one more stat for you. He's got 1 start here in the Xfinity Series, and he finished 3rd last year. And he's plus money again. What are we doing? Hey, no, I'm not complaining. Austin Hill plus 140 for a top 5. Go get it while the getting's good, because I don't understand it. He didn't win last week, so he just drops back in odds again. It makes no sense at all, but I like it, so give it to me.
I mean, Austin Hill, 2 top 5 finishes in the last 2 races. I mean, what more do you even need? Like, I don't get it.
Well, and it's just look at this entire season, and he finds a way to put himself there every week. And the question is, well, do they have the power to stick with him on the big track? Well, this isn't a big track. This is a small like he's a veteran driver at this point. And you look back through his truck history. It's not the greatest here, right? That could be the argument you could make against, but this is different than when he was I won a championship with the trucks, but this is different than when he was there. Like he's just, his season is going so well. It blows my mind that he's plus money. So Take it while they give it to you again before they stop giving it to us again.
Indeed, average finish of 8th place this year, 15 top fives and 26 starts. I'd say that is a safe plus money bet to make. This is not, but I don't care. I think we're going to roll with some nostalgia here. We're going to roll with some fun. This is one that you just don't even go heavy on at all. This is one where you just put like, whatever soda money you had and just see if you can buy yourself about 3 more sodas with it when you cash this. And that's Earnhardt as a top 5 car. The only reason I'm putting this on there is because it's plus 350 over on Caesars. Like I said, you don't got to go heavy on this. This can just be a fun little something for you to cheer about and have some nostalgia going on. He's driving the 88 car for his own team. And when you look back at the track history of just Bristol in general for Xfinity drivers, it's Justin Allgaier with 10 top 5 finishes. It's Dale Earnhardt Jr. with 7 top 5 finishes on this track in 12 races. Now, I understand. I get it. I know that this has been a long time. I just said that Trevor Bayne hasn't made a start on this track in years, but Trevor Bayne is not Dale Earnhardt Jr. I'm sorry.
Nobody's Dale Earnhardt Jr.
This is what I'm saying. And the last time that he was on Bristol as an Xfinity driver was 2017. He did finish 13th in this 88 car. I know. But how much fun is it going to be when he does this? Because, like I said, in 12 starts, he's got 9 top 10 finishes, a 5th in 2012, a 3rd in 2011, a 4th in 2010, a 6th in 2007. I haven't said those numbers I don't think ever on this show.
2007.
2005, he finished 7th. He won this race in 2004, 3rd in 1999, 2nd in 1999. A second.
He won the championship that year too, so that's great.
So look, is this going to happen? No. But at 3-1, 3.2-1, it's a fun little bet to make.
If you want to throw $5 on this, so you can say you got to bet on Dale Earnhardt Jr., and if by some craziness it cashes, that's great. It's all wonderful. I love Dale Earnhardt Jr. I'm excited to see him back on the track. It's always fun. It's great to see. From a betting aspect, though, this should be like plus 800, probably not plus 350, but they're going to take massive action on it because everybody loves Dale Jr., right? And everybody wants to bet it. It's all fun. It's all great. But
hey, if you got a free bet that you want to put on it,
use
and
it on something else.
Anything.
If you're here to make money, we're going to bet against Dale Earnhardt Jr., and I'm sorry to do it. This is how the books are really. I mean, they've got Dale Earnhardt Jr. matched up against Brandon Jones, and this is the perfect matchup for the books because people are going to look at it and they're like, Brandon Jones ain't done shit this year, and they're going to take so much money on the Dale Earnhardt Jr. side of this that it's going to be ridiculous. But you're smart with your money. You're going to place it on Brandon Jones. We just got done talking about how good Brandon Jones is here, how well we expect him to finish. Dale Earnhardt Jr. He doesn't hide anything. He's very out there and open and on his podcasts and stuff. And he's admitted it's not you can't get in these cars and do what he used to do today because he doesn't do it every day. He doesn't do it every week. He jumps in these cars once a year, twice a year. This year we're lucky we get him at Homestead again in a couple of weeks, and it's fun and it's great. He'll jump in the cars tour every once in a while on the late model and stuff, but you don't see him go win those races or dominate those races because these guys are doing this every day. These guys are battling it out. And they're just, it's not, he's going to finish 10th to 15th most likely. I'd be surprised if it's better than 10th. I think that'd be a really good day. It's going to be fun to see him out there. You're going to love to root for it. He's got a cool looking Hellman's car. It's awesome. It's great. But you got to bet against him here. Brandon Jones, it's minus 135 over on DraftKings. So they're even trying to entice you into betting. Like everything about this, the books are just trying to make as much money as possible while Dale Jr.'s in this. You lay the minus 135. Unless Brandon Jones gets caught up in an accident, he's going to easily be the better car on the day. Look back at Dale Jr. Last year he ran, Martinsville was his one race. He finished 11th, and that was because there was a I-5 pile up at the end of that race. He somehow avoided it. It went from 20th to 11th and got a somewhat decent finish. 2021, the one race he ran at Richmond, 14th. 2020, he did finish 5th at Homestead, but that's been 3 years ago. 2019, he was 5th at Darlington. That's been 4 years ago. He hasn't run full-time since 2017. That's 6 years ago, Rod. It's been a long time since he's been full-time. It's been a long time since he's been comfortable in these cars. Again, I love you, Dale Jr. I'm sorry, but I'm here to make money. Brandon Jones over Dale Earnhardt Jr. It's minus 135. You're paying up the juice, but you only pay the juice if you lose. And barring an issue for Brandon Jones, he will be the better car on the day, hands down, no question about it. So give me Brandon Jones over Dale Earnhardt Jr. minus 135, and then go throw $5 on him for the top 5 just in case it hits, so you can be happy that way too.
Hey, and listen, it can hit either way. I mean, Jones,
you can hit both of these, right? Maybe they finish first and second.
Yeah, so there you go. It can still hit.
Although if you're Brandon Jones at the end and you're running first and Dale Earnhardt Jr. second, don't you have to let him pass you and just finish second to Dale? I think you want to come back race this car next year? Yeah, you might get out the way, son.
Oh, look, this seat.
You're not in the playoffs. Get out the way.
This seat does not fit. What's going on? All right. Well, I didn't wake up and choose JRM. JRM chose me today. I literally, I think I have everybody. Yeah, pretty much
This was it. You haven't listened to the Cup show yet. Oh, buddy, that was me. I did not wake up and choose SHR, but SHR found its way all over my card.
Yeah, it just like I said, JRM chose me. All right, well, I've got Sam Mayer as a top 3 finisher in this race. A little bit of a stretch on this one, obviously, but I do like the price for it. It is plus 300. It's 3-1 for Sam Mayer. Look, he's had 2 races on this track. Both of them have been top 10 finishes. He had a 9th place finish in 2021, but he led 49 laps in that, which means he was a fast enough car to be in front. And then in 2022, a 4th place finish, one outside of the top 3, obviously, for that. It's been rough on the couple of short tracks that we've been on this season for Sam Mayer. Martinsville, he finished 31st. He crashed out of that one, but he was a top 5 car from the start. 3rd place car starting in Richmond, finished 17th in that one. So a couple of rough outings. But again, this is when he was battling his own teammates and battling everybody else around him. So bad luck for him on that. But if you go back to 2022, much different case, right? In Richmond, he was a 3rd place car. In Martinsville, he was a 5th place car. And then in Bristol, he was a 4th place car. So much better finishes last season on short tracks, which means the potential is there for him to finish inside of the top 5s, which means the potential is there for him to finish in the top 3, because last season when he finished 4th here, Noah Gragson was in there. Noah Gragson is no longer in this series anymore, which means he would have finished 3rd if we took out Gragson. I know that's not how it works. Shut up. I don't care. But in my world, take out Noah Gragson, Sam Mayer finishes 3rd. So again, he's capable of a top 3 finish. I really do like the price at 3-1 for this. And you know, at Caesars, they're going to give me 3-1 on this. I'll take it. Sam Mayer, top 3 car.
Yeah, I like this. Mayer was a guy I wanted to have a bet on, but I just couldn't find a way that I really liked to bet him. So I think you're getting a pretty good number for the top 3 here. So that probably is the best way to get on Mayer. I said SHR kept finding their way onto my card. They did it again. This time, Riley Herbst, top 5 at 5-1. Again, a bet we loved early in the season. It's hit for us a lot of times. If Riley Herbst ends up in a crash on this, you can't be mad if you've placed this bet, because at this point, you just know how volatile it is. He's either a top 5 car or he's a top 5 car and he gets put in the wall. But the point is, he's a top 5 car every time, right? It's just if he makes it to the end or not. But you go back over the last couple of seasons, 5th place here last year, 3rd place in 2021. So he's been very good at this track. He's got some good finishes here recently. 6th place just 2 races ago at Darlington. 6th place at Michigan a couple of weeks ago. I know there's been some bad finishes, had some bad luck at Kansas. He's one of those guys, much like Sheldon Creed, where when it bites him, but he can have good finishes. He's got 5 top 5 finishes this year. You get him at 5-1. He's done it both times, the last 2 times we've been at this track. And so I really like that from Herbst. I think he's capable of it. We know he's got a fast car, and he's turned into being a pretty good driver, despite what we said about him last year. But if the bad luck avoids him, he's definitely going to be in the mix for this top 5. But again, if he ends up in the wall, don't be mad, because you knew it was coming.
Then he becomes the 98 car for the rest of the season, because we're just like, all right, we're done with this. But no, I like this number too. It's a tempting enough number to say this is probably going to hit. And like you said, if he hits the wall, oh well, it's 5-1 for a reason. We knew something like that was going to happen.
Yeah, and it's the fact that you're getting a guy who's very much capable any week of running in the top 5, and you're getting him at 5-1. obviously you've got to end up on the good luck side of things, but he's very capable of it. So I really like him.
Well, it's funny because you say running inside the top 5, but finishing inside the top 5.
Yes.
There's the difference of that one, right?
Exactly.
All right. Well, look, so we talked earlier about the fact that John Hunter Nemechek could probably end up winning this race. But the under on the winning car number on this one, it's set at 11.5, but the under is minus 140. And honestly, if you look at the lineup here, the only two that I'm scared of over this number of winning this is John Hunter and Austin Hill. I mean, I'm not necessarily worried that Sammy Smith is going to win this. That would be the only other guy. But outside of that, I mean, unless Dale Earnhardt Jr., like we said, kind of swoops up and does it. But minus 140 for just two cars really in contention, not really something I'm interested in betting. So the winning car number under 11.5 is at plus 110. That is where the stacked part of this field is. You get Sam Mayer, who we just talked about. You get Sheldon Creed, who we haven't even talked about, and yet, damn it, needs his first win at some point. Would love to see him get that done. He's been so close, even the last couple of weeks, and he's been running up front. So Sheldon Creed, you get Allgaier, you get Barry, you get Jones. Like, that's a pretty stacked half of that's all mostly JRM, obviously. But again, there's only, I think, maybe 5 or 6 actual contenders to win this race. Now that, granted, they're all kind of close together, in my opinion, but I don't see more than maybe 7 people in contention to win this race. So most of those are under that 11.5 mark. And if you're going to give me plus 110 for that side of it, I will gladly take that.
Yeah. I don't know. You can make an argument for some guys over, and I'm going to make an argument for a couple of guys over this number, actually. But again, if you're going to do that, if you're going to bet on a couple of guys over the number, you maybe hedge with a little bit under. But the underside is definitely the loaded side. Always scares me when you don't get John Hunter Nemechek, when you don't get Austin Hill. Bain's in there. Both the Smiths are in there. But I do think that under is probably the lean, and especially, like you said, price-wise, you're not going to take over at minus 140 this week. Last week, maybe with an Austin Hill where you're almost certain it's going to be him, you consider a little more. But this week, I think under is the way to go with all the guys you're getting underneath that number.
Well, and even still, like the odd and even were both at minus 115. So it's a coin flip on that one too. But I don't know.
Yeah, I looked at that. That one can go either way. There's a lot of guys you can make a case for on either side. So it was kind of like, I guess I'm not taking this one because I don't know which way to go.
No, that's why I was like, I'm just going to take this winning car number under. And honestly, guys, if you're wondering why I continue to go back to these winning car number ones, other than the fact that they hit a lot of times, it's simply
other than the fact that I'm always just cashing these bets like crazy.
Just that aside, the fact of the matter is the books don't give us a lot for Xfinity to work with, and I don't want to load you down with head-to-heads because that's not where we like to make our money. Head-to-heads is not the market.
This last box was a tough one. Especially this week, like where it was, you're not so certain on guys. Like that's why I looked so heavily at both of these number ones, just because I was like, maybe I need to squeeze one of these in here, and I found the Herbst one, and I felt like there was a lot of good value there, but. Yeah, it's we need some fucking top 10s. We got them one week, we killed them, and they took them away forever.
Yeah, or just the same sort of selection that we get with the Cup. I mean, all drivers finish or two drivers.
Even more head-to-heads would be great. Like, I know we don't always love head-to-heads, but if you go deeper in the field, I don't know, whatever.
Well, we'll figure this out. Maybe again, there's talks. We could
the truck races in like 24 hours, and we don't have any fucking odds. What are we doing here?
Well, I tell you what we're doing. We're going to lay out some winners, but we're going to do that after we introduce you to a show that we like on the network.
Hey, everybody. If you play fantasy football, especially in auction leagues,
or you're a whiskey fan.
Yes, exactly. Check out the Sports Gambling Podcast Fantasy Football Channel show, Old Fashioned Football.
Coming to you every Tuesday morning. Give us a listen. We'll bring you the latest fantasy football data, including
the injury report,
studs and duds,
waiver wire targets,
and suggested fab.
Market movers. After all, we are the Marks.
He is my hubby.
And she's J Mark's wifey.
And we're bringing all this to you while drinking an old fashioned and giving you our honest review of a different whiskey every week.
All that and more. Hop on over, give us a listen. Come for the football, stay for the whiskey.
This ad's almost done.
Going once, going twice.
Sold.
All right. Well, this box was not necessarily all that difficult to fill out, and this is the outright box that we have on our show sheet each week. Cody, who headlines that? And then, of course, you always have your couple extra just in case.
That's right. Well, you, much like in the Cup Series episode, you stole one of mine that I really, really love. So congratulations to you. I had to pivot off of that. But again, much like the Cup race, I kind of looked at this. It's real short at the top. We talked about it. John Hunter's up there. Justin Allgaier's up there. And I was like, I don't really love one of these guys. I'm not going to take him at this low of a price. So I looked down a little farther, and I found two guys not too much farther down the board that I really like and I really think are going to have a good chance this weekend. And so let's start. Josh Berry, plus 700. That's right. I am betting on Josh Berry. It doesn't happen very much. He's just a guy. Again, I guess we get in these things where there's certain guys we like to bet on, certain guys we don't bet on as much. Berry's not a guy I bet on a lot. And I guess maybe this is a guy I don't bet on a lot week. I had Joey Logano yesterday in the Cup episode, right? Going with Josh Berry today. But he's a short track guy, right? That's where he cut his teeth. That's where he got his experience. He's coming up on the short tracks. So this is the type of race where he can show up. He's had really fast cars a lot of weeks, hasn't always capitalized, a lot like his teammate and Justin Allgaier, right? And so you're definitely running that risk for sure. But he finished 7th in this race last year, not the best finish ever, but a decent finish. He was 2nd at Dover earlier this year. Dover, again, a somewhat comparable track. It's obviously bigger, but similar in that it's shorter and it's banked and whatnot. He was 4th at Martinsville earlier on this season. He doesn't have a win yet this season. If you would have told me going into this season, Josh Berry, we would be in, September, and he doesn't have a win yet. We're in the playoffs and he hasn't won yet. I would have been thoroughly surprised. Obviously, he's going to be a Cup Series driver next year. Got those distractions and everything, but this is the playoffs now. Let's get serious. Let's show up. I think Josh Berry could be a real threat to win this week. 7-1 over on DraftKings. I think that he's the best option of the more favorited drivers, right? And I think to go along right with that, I'm going to piggyback and go to a guy that's 8-1 over on Superbook, and that's Trevor Bayne. Trevor Bayne doesn't get a ton of chances in these cars. It's been pretty popularized how he wants to get back into it, right? Former Daytona 500 winner, and maybe you want to shock the world, Chris Rice? Trevor Bayne to the 31. No, I'm just kidding. I don't see that. If it happens, though, we'll come back and clip this. But Trevor Bayne, when he does show up, it's impressive. I think his only start this season was I had to go back and look. I think it was at Daytona, maybe. So
it was at Daytona. He crashed out.
So I threw the result because it's Daytona. So what are you going to do? But last year in this car, Rod, 4th place at Phoenix. He led 38 laps that day, a shorter track, right? 2nd place at New Hampshire, shorter track. 2nd place at Nashville, rather. He made 9 starts last year. And in 6 of those 9 starts, he finished inside the top 6. 2 of the starts where he finished outside of the top 6 were Daytona and Atlanta. So super speedways. So in his 7 starts on non-super speedways, 6 times he was in the top 6. A couple of good, strong 2nd place finishes, a 4th place finish in there. Didn't quite get the win yet, but we saw a similar situation earlier this year, right? Ryan Truex comes into this car on a shorter track in New Hampshire, gets the win, gets that momentum. These JGR cars are fast. They are the best cars in the field week in and week out. As much as I love John Hunter Nemechek up top, it's just too short this week. I think Trevor Bayne's a good way to get in on the JGR cars. I think he's at a good price. And again, he's trying out for the future, right? This 19 car, it's a pay-to-play ride. There's no bones made about that. They don't hide from that. Obviously, Joe Graff was in the car last week, so it's pay-to-play. Like, if you show up, you got the sponsorship, you pay. And Bayne has done that, and he's picked and chose his places, right? And this is a chance to show off for those sponsors and build that relationship, put them in victory lane at a NASCAR Xfinity Series race, give them that taste of victory and what we can do going forward and build that relationship. I think Trevor Bayne could get it done. 8-1 on Superbook. And then Rod, the guy that I had in 2 head-to-heads against him, I was going to fade him because you cannot trust Colleague. But The stats speak for themselves at this track. I'm going to put my faith in Colleague only because he's 15-1. Chandler Smith, 15-1. Again, full intentions on fading him. I had Brandon Jones against him in a head-to-head. I had Austin Hill against him in a head-to-head. Both guys I've made a case for top 5 in this race. But I think Chandler Smith might be able to do even better. I think Chandler Smith is going to be alive for this win. In the Truck Series, his best track average finish is Bristol, or his best tracks. Here's his best tracks. They go in this order. It's Phoenix, Bristol, Sonoma's randomly in there, Martinsville, and Richmond. So of those 5, it's 4 short tracks in Sonoma. But he's got 4 Truck Series races at Bristol, all of them inside the top 9. He's finished first and second place here. I don't believe he started here in the Xfinity Series race, but he's had some good finishes this year. It's not been all great. Obviously, we know the problems that Colleague has had. They showed us last week, right? He had an engine problem. Like 10 laps into the race, he was already in the garage getting things fixed. And then the 10 car had the same problem, right? But he does have an 8th place finish at Watkins Glen. Again, a track where it's not, I think really on the bigger tracks is more where there's almost a Stuart Haas type of thing. On the bigger tracks, they're struggling. But Watkins Glen, where he can make a little more of a difference, an 8th place finish, 2nd place at New Hampshire. He won at Richmond, arguably one of the most comparable tracks here. 5th place at Phoenix. Been really good on the short tracks this year. So yeah, give me Chandler Smith, 15-1. Again, had zero intention of place. I actually intended to bet against him just because I've done it so much lately. But much like Chase Briscoe over in the Cup Series, sometimes certain tracks, you just have to follow the numbers and follow the guys and put your faith in that and believe in it. And Chandler Smith is a guy I believe in. I don't know that I can fully say I believe in the Colleague car, but at 15-1, I think the price is worth it. And he could surprise and show up and be extremely fast, and we'll be shocked because, it's a Colleague car, but he's already won in it this season. So we know he can get it done. And really, I mean, he outperformed Kyle Busch in the races. Kyle Busch was in the car at the time, right? Now it's the 11 car. That's the Derek Kraus in the 11, by the way, this week as the ringer driver, or whatever you want to call it, in their rotator car. But yeah, Chandler Smith 15-1 again. Didn't intend on going there, but it's where I landed, and I do think it's a good bet.
Sad too, because he's not a bad driver. He's a really good driver. In fact,
yes.
It's just not the greatest equipment.
Don't sleep on him for being the guy that they're going to announce to the 13 car. There's so many guys that could be like. I was not to get too sidetracked, but I was going through a list earlier, and I'm just thinking like it could be number 10, as we all know, and that seems to be now. There's people circling the freckle in the picture and circling the freckle on number 10's arm. I almost said his name, and saying it's going to be him. It could be Gragson. It could be Benedetto. It could be Zane Smith. It could be Chandler Smith. It could be a lot of people. But anyways, back to the show.
Well, and we'll have fun speculating on that too as the more facts start to come out. So, all right. Well, listen, I know that you said that you didn't necessarily want to go toward the top, but I felt like I needed to go toward the top, and I was looking around and shopping the odds, because at first I was going to stay away from Justin Allgaier too. I was like, I don't like it, especially since I saw, what was it, plus 225 that he's at over on Caesars, and I said, nah, not for that price. And then I looked also at DraftKings, and I saw plus 280, and I was like, I mean, that's not much better. Then I went on Bet365 and I saw 3-1, and I thought, okay, well, maybe, just maybe, Justin Allgaier 3-1 is, I mean, those extra 20 cents kind of made my maybe it was the number change. Maybe it was the fact that it went from a 2 to a 3 that sort of made me feel a little okay with this. But listen, if you look at Justin Allgaier, because this is what I was looking at before I was looking at his price, I was like, yeah, hell yeah, you got to take Allgaier as the favorite, right? Well, the book said the same thing, and that's why they priced him as such. But Justin Allgaier on this track, you go back to 2019, he started 6th, led 138 laps of this race. Unfortunately, crashed out of that one, finished 30th. In 2019, started 3rd, led 131 laps in this race, finished 8th in that one. There's a trend here that you're going for, but I'm telling you right now, the next race in that 2020, 156 laps that he led, he finished 18th. 126 laps he led in 2020 again, 92, 148. Dude continues to run up front. He continues to be the fastest car because, again, there's not very many laps on this track, right? We talk about his 300. He's leading almost half of these laps in every race that he's been on so far over the last, 6 races. Now, again, the finishes, like I said, have not been there. 5th, 4th, and 9th in his last 3. So he's been up front on all of these as well. You got to think He has won on this track before. He has won. It's been a very long time. 2010, right? If we're going to talk about time machines, 2010, it's almost 2007, but it wasn't. It was 2010. But in 22, he's made 22 starts on this track. That is by far the most of any of the active drivers on this track, even more than Dale Earnhardt Jr. Well, actually, I take that back. He's not the active leader. That distinction belongs to Jeremy Clements, by the way. So yeah,
I could have had a lot of guesses and not guessed that.
Yeah, that's it. But Justin Allgaier right there at 22 as well. So he's made that many starts on this track, 14 top 10s, 10 top 5s in the win. He's due. He's due. I'll take a chance at 3-1. He's been fast this season, as we know. He won at Daytona, 7th at Darlington. Go back to the short tracks that we've had. Not good at Richmond, 13th, but he did start on the pole that day. Led 6 laps in Martinsville before finishing 6th. He's due. He's due. I'm going to give him his due. And then his teammate is the other one that I'm going to take. This one's a little better at 25-1. Brandon Jones, who I'm sure this is who I stole from Cody. Brandon Jones.
What a guess.
25-1. We've talked ad nauseum about him in this episode. A 3rd place finish in 2020, runner up in 2022, right? A couple more top 5s and top 10s mixed in there. 6 top 10s and 13 starts, 3 top 5s. Again, it's just 5th place at Martinsville earlier in the season. He just got a runner up at Kansas last week. So he's kind of riding a little bit of momentum. 3rd at Michigan, if you want to just kind of toss another good finish in there in the mix as well. Yeah, I mean, Brandon Jones at 25-1 is somebody we're taking a stab at. Maybe this team has got a little momentum. Maybe this team is going to carry that into to Bristol, where again he's run very well and can continue to do so. So if Bristol speaks to Brandon Jones, then I think it's a good enough week for you to lay 25-1 on him to win.
Yeah, I love the Brandon Jones pick. I think that obviously we've talked about him a lot in this episode. He's gotten so close a couple of times this year, Michigan, at Kansas, the tracks he's good at. It's another track he's good at. This could be the week he gets up there, gets it done. So I do love that pick. I had that and got into the document, and Rod already had it. I'm going to tell you, Justin Allgaier 3-1. I don't think it's worth it, in my opinion. I'm going to go against you there. He could win this race, yes, but like I talked about when I took against the head-to-head, he's not reliable enough, in my opinion. He doesn't stand out enough at this track in particular to me, but best of luck to you, Rob.
Hey, listen, the tension in this is what everybody comes for.
This is the show we always disagree on. It's Xfinity, so.
It is. Well, it's because I'm always heavy JRM.
Yeah. I went with the JRM. How do we end up with 3 JRM outrights in this? Oh, boy, that's and we didn't even take Dale Earnhardt. What are his odds to? I just should have looked at this. What's his
Dale
odds
Earnhardt to win the whole thing?
Because you know they're going to take a lot.
35-1 on DraftKings.
Yeah, that's probably like just the right price to where they what is this? Ooh, we
get a little bit of something.
Yeah, where they'll get enough action.
He's 28-1 on Caesars,
but there's like no chance that it cashes. So yeah, let's don't again. $5 if you want to just have it to say you got to bet on Dale Earnhardt Jr. But it's not. This is not financial advice.
No. All right, get out your pen and paper. We're going to go over the bets for this Food City 300 Xfinity Series race. Cody started you off with John Hunter Nemechek over Justin Allgaier at +110 on Superbook. I gave you Josh Berry over Trevor Bayne at -120 on DraftKings. Cody gave you Brandon Jones as a top 5 car at +225 on Caesars. I said Brandon Jones was going to finish better than Sammy Smith at -125 on Caesars. Cody gave you Austin Hill as a top 5 car at +140. I said Dale Earnhardt Jr. would be a top 5 car at +350 on Caesars. Cody gave you Brandon Jones over Dale Earnhardt Jr. at -135 on DraftKings. I said Sam Mayer would be a top 3 car at 3-1 on Caesars. Cody gave you Riley Herbst as a top 5 car at 5-1. I said the winning car number would come from underneath 11.5 at +110 on Caesars. Cody gave you Josh Berry at 7-1 on DK, Trevor Bayne at 8-1 on Superbook, and Chandler Smith at 15-1 to win this race. I said Justin Allgaier at 3-1 on 365 was going to win, and Brandon Jones as insurance at 25-1 on DraftKings. Cody, short track, short tempers under the lights, my friend. This is going to be a lot of fun.
It's going to be a good one. It's going to be a great time. I'm excited. Don't forget Friday night, right? Not your typical Saturday race. Friday night under the lights. It's a good one to kick the playoffs off. I'm pretty excited, and it's going to be a fun time.
Indeed. Well, then, as we wrap up this episode, whenever it comes out, let everybody know where they can find you on social media.
Yep. Follow me over on X at Husker_Zeeb. I got my week 2 running back rankings for fantasy football. That's out from Last Word on Sports. I'll have DFS stacks for Sunday as well coming out later in the week for sportsgamblingpodcast.com. Check out the F1 Gambling Podcast. Might be out by the time this is out. It might be coming out soon. Who knows? It's all a surprise this week. It's a crazy week. But let's go make some money and repeat last week.
So the scheduling gods just mix it all up on you. So I'm on X at RJ Villagomez, link in the bio, everything I got going on, whether it's here, whether it is in between media, on the back road with Seth and Elliot again this week, whenever that is. It could be Thursday, could be whenever, but we'll figure that out. Of course, follow me on Fast Money as well. Get some parlays out for that. And, of course, all my work for Sportsbook Review. If you love Thursday Night Football and want to play some prop bets, I got some on there as well. So, all right, we'll see you soon with another episode. Till then, let's go racing and let it ride.
That's the way of the miles. Through the darkness,